Hi everyone, we are excited to have you here in today's fun-filled learning session at Uolo. Here is a quick look at how you can submit your work after the class. As a first step, go to live.uolo.com. You can use any browser to access this site. On this page, you will see a list of all our classes. Scroll down and you can see the Submit Your Work button. And then you will see a list of the classes that you've last attended, which could, for example, show the dance or craft or science experiment classes you've attended recently. Next, it will show you the list of children whose names are registered in this mobile number. Choose your name from this list to submit your work. For instance, if you are Satvik Kumar, choose that name. And then choose the class for which you would like to make your submission. For example, if you've attended the New Year's Masquerade Party session and you'd like to make the submission for this class, click on the Submit Your Work button below that. And then upload the photo you've taken. Choose the image from your phone and click Submit. You can scroll down and view all your past submissions and see how many of your friends or peers have liked your work. You can also see others' work and like their work to inspire your friends. If you want to showcase your work on social media, that too is very simple. Click on Share, copy the link and post it on Instagram or Facebook or any other platform of your choice. Just a tiny reminder, your submission looks a lot better if you could click a photo in the landscape mode rather than the portrait mode. Do not forget to tag us at YOLO_app. I'm eagerly looking forward to all your submissions right after this class.
Hey there, kids. How are you doing? Welcome back. I hope you had a look at the submission video and it made sense to you on how to go ahead and make your submissions. And I hope you are going ahead and making all of the submissions that you need to be making for all of your classes. So let's get started with today's class. And before that, let's talk about A, the feedback program, and B, about the course program that we have going on. So let's start off with the feedback program. So what is the feedback program? The feedback program basically is a program wherein if you get selected as part of the top 10, I will be going ahead and giving you a personalized feedback on the work that you've been doing. Now, this could be any form of feedback. This could be a positive feedback where I tell you what your skills are, what you're good at, what I see that you can go ahead and continue practicing on and become really, really good at. Or sometimes it could be some critical feedback, which could be things that you can improve on and things that you can do better with. So either of the two are really, really great because I'm going to be basically giving you feedback to improve on your skill a lot more. So I hope you're going ahead and being, like very, responsible about your submissions, and you are making it a point to go ahead and make all of your submissions. Apart from that, let's talk about this certificate program that we have going on. So what is the certificate program? The certificate program is a really simple program wherein you get a certificate for attending the classes that you're already attending. So only few things that you have to keep in mind: A, that you should attend all of the classes of a particular course, and secondly, definitely go ahead and make the submissions for each of the courses, or the classes that you're attending as part of any course. Now, why is this important? Basically, it's important because if you go ahead and attend all of the classes, we do know that you have understood and learned every skill taught as part of every class, as well as if you go ahead and make all of your submissions, what we do understand is that you've learned something, or you've gone ahead and understood, or practiced a skill with us. So if we do get this sort of an identification, then it becomes really easy for us to go ahead and give you a certificate, which you can go ahead and use in the future, with your friends, with your colleagues, with your teachers. Later on, you can go ahead and show them, and they will be really, really happy to know the skills that you have. A certificate is a very good proof of all the skills that you have. So it's fantastic to have something like that. So let's now move on to what we're going to be doing today. In today's class, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be taking forward everything that we have learned as part of our sketching and go ahead and actually implement it. Now, the first two classes were all about blending and blending techniques or shading techniques, and in the third class we went ahead and learned how to go ahead and do 3D objects. Now, all of that practical knowledge needs to be used somewhere, right? So the knowledge that we're going to be using is in today's class, we're going to be going ahead and shading a teacup, which is super exciting, isn't it? I'm really glad that we've finally come to the point where we're actually using objects and subjects to, utilize our skill and bring things to life. So I'm very, very glad about that. And I'm super excited to go ahead and do that with you today. Before that, just a little bit about the course. Now the course is very, very important what we're doing today, because all basics of shading, since you're doing pencil shading right now, all basics of pencil shading can be used in the future in any skill, whether you're doing it with painting, whether you're doing it with color pencils, whether you're doing it with crayons, whether you're using pencils itself. Wherever you're using it, it becomes very, very important to know the concept of shading and the concept of light, medium, darks, because that is what is going to go ahead and teach you more later on. It's what is going to bring any piece to life. So if you know this basic skill, then you can go ahead and do anything later on super, super easily. So let's get started with today's class by talking about all the materials that we need. So the first thing that you need for today's class obviously is going to be a sheet of paper. Here I have a 150 a GSM sheet of paper. Now if you have a sketchbook like this, then that's fantastic. If you do not have a sketchbook like this and you have like a drawing book, or if you have a journal book, that's completely all right. If you do not have any of those two and you just have like a simple A4 size sheet of paper or an unruled sheet of paper, then that would work absolutely well as well. Take whatever you have with you. The next thing that you need is obviously going to be a pencil. Now here, just make sure your pencil is dark. You do not want to use a very, very light pencil, because if you go ahead and use a light pencil, what's going to happen is you're not going to really be able to see the picture that you are creating. So have a dark pencil with you. You do not want a very, very light pencil. Now over here, what I'm going to do, where I have pointed out in my sheet, I'm going to basically go ahead and mark out and draw the whole teacup that we're going to be doing today. So everything is basically going to be in this sheet of paper itself. We're going to do a miniature version wherein I'm going to mark out all of the things, and then we're going to go ahead and do a bigger version. So first, let's go ahead and do the smaller version of this. I'm going to, explain why, where, how, what we're going to be doing, and then we're going to actually do it in reality, because it's going to make it easier for you to go ahead and understand what to do and what not to do. So let's start off by drawing a baby, like small teacup on the side, and let's mark that out. So we're going to start off by drawing a semicircle like so. That's going to be our first step, so definitely go ahead and do that as part of your first step. Well done. Next step is going to be to draw the oval on top of the teacup. Well done. Now this is not your final piece, remember that. So if you make a few mistakes here and there, that's completely all right. You do not have to have it like the most perfect right now. It's okay if you make a few mistakes in this one. This is just like a baby version or a miniature version that is going to be done before the real one. So if you're making mistakes, no problem, don't worry about that whatsoever. Okay, so I'm looking at everybody's sheet. Everybody's done. Okay, let's continue. Now we're going to go ahead and draw the two handles. So I'm going to just do like two curves, and that's going to be the holder of the teacup itself. And now what I want to do is, I just don't want a plain teacup. I want it to have sort of like a base that it can sit on. So I'm going to go ahead and draw a curve like so, and then adding in another one to make it look a lot more realistic. There we go. So now we have our drawing of the whole teacup. We're going to go ahead and use this teacup now to mark out where our dark medium light is going to be. Now before obviously you mark out where your dark medium light is going to be, you sort of need to know where the source of light is. So let's talk about where you possibly think the source of light could come from. It could come, frankly, from anywhere. It could come from the right side, it could come from the left side, it could come from the top, it could come from the right top, it could come from the left top. Now, depending on where your light is going to be coming from, you're going to decide where your light tone is going to be. So, immediately where the light is coming from will be your light tone. Right after that is going to be your medium. Right after that is going to be your dark. Now, that's what you have learned in all of your classes till now, especially in the last class of 3D objects. So now what we're going to do is we're going to complicate that a little bit more, because what if it's coming from a center portion? Then what do you do on either side? We've just learned from one side if it's coming, right? So that's what we're going to go ahead and do today. We're going to go ahead and do it that if it comes from the top, then what happens? So you can see I'm going to go ahead and mark out my arrow coming like this. So that is going to be my light source. I want you to particularly mark this out. Well done. So now what we're going to do is we're going to mark out all of my light, medium, darks. Now exactly where our light is falling, we're going to go ahead and do a dotted line in that patch as the light tone. So as you can see, I'm going to mark this out and then I'm going to explain it to you. All right. Now, if you're looking at that center patch that I have left, that is going to be my light tone, because light is immediately falling right next to it. Now, right next to that, you might see you have two thin patches. Now, what are those thin patches? That's going to be my medium tone. And the last patches, that is the furthest away from my light, is going to be my dark tone. Now, obviously, remember that if light is coming, it can't go everywhere, right? It's going to be in a specific area. So, light in the center, then medium, and then dark. So, now you know, even if it's coming like straight forward from the top, whatever is happening, basically you're going to have the light patch, then medium, then dark. And always remember, between light and dark you will always have a medium transition shade. You will never have like a sudden random patch of dark, so remember that. So now I'm just marking this down, so make sure you write this down as well. You can always go ahead and use this later on if you're confused as to how to go ahead and do this. Now for our handle, what is going to happen? Now our handle is on the side where we already have our dark tone going on. So what we're going to basically do is we're going to mark it as medium and then dark. Though a lot of light will not fall over there, we will not have a very bright medium tone going on over there. It still makes sense to add medium tone because the whole handle will not be dark. There will be surrounding light somewhere, so it look medium and dark. So that's what I'm going to mark out right here. Is going to have dark on the end, and then we have medium. Perfect. So that's our two things. Now what about the bottom part, which is holding the cup? Now obviously when the cup is sitting, it's going to create a shadow, right? When something is kept on something, there is a shadow, so automatically we will have a dark tone. And then right after that, because there is space and little bit of light can fall of it, we'll have a medium tone. So I'm going to mark that out as well. So you can see our medium tone, and then we have our dark tone. That's it. Perfect. So now just make sure you have this diagram drawn very, very easily, because if you have this diagram, sort of nailed down right there, then you can go ahead and do the shading of this very, very easily, because you already know how to go ahead and do the technique of shading, right? The only thing we were trying to, learn today basically was how to use those techniques of shading and how to use that concept of light and actually create a picture out of it. So here you can see we've sort of demonstrated what we are going to be doing. So I can see that everybody's marked everything out, which I am very, very glad with. Everybody's done a wonderful job in marking everything out, so really, really happy with that. Now we can go ahead and actually shade it out. So now we're going to go ahead and draw the bigger version. So here, try not to make mistakes while you're drawing. If you are making any mistakes, go ahead and correct it out immediately, because I want this to look spectacular and have a wonderful submission from all of you all. So let's get started. Okay, so first part of it is going to be to go ahead and draw the curve of it. You can see I'm going to go ahead and draw quite a large curve right here because I want my cup to be on the larger side. I do not want a really, really small cup. So make sure you're also drawing it nice and big. All right. Okay, well done, everybody. Looking very, very nice. Excellent. So everybody's drawn their curve. Now let's go ahead and draw the oval on top, which is the opening of our cup itself. Perfect. Good job, everybody. You're doing an excellent job. I'm very, very happy with how everybody is doing today. Excellent. Now we can go ahead and draw the handle of our cup. Take your time. If you're making any mistakes, you don't have to rush into it, or you don't have to do it fast. You don't have to, like, it's not a competition. Take your time in doing it. Okay, well done, everybody. Perfect. And now we can move ahead and do the bottom part of it. So curve and curve. Perfect. And now we have our teacup ready. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to wait here for a second just in case some of you have made a mistake. Some of you need to go ahead and make any corrections. I'm just going to wait for you before we move on. So go ahead, finish it up, and then we can move on to our next part of it. Okay, I'm looking at everybody's drawing and it's looking good. Okay, so now even though we go ahead and always mark out our light, medium, and then dark, we're going to shade actually starting from the dark. Now, this you have figured out from all the classes that you've attended, the past three classes. So we're going to start off with the dark tone, which is basically going to be the edge of the cup. So whichever side you want to start off with, you can start with the right, you can start with the left, it doesn't matter. Now you have the diagram on how to go ahead and do it. So practically you could do it without me as well, but obviously I'm going to sit through it and do it with you. So let's go ahead and do it. We're going to start off with our dark tone. So good amount of pressure. So do dark, medium, light. Go ahead and do it in small batches. You do not want to rush into it. Take your time in going ahead and doing it. There is no hurry in how you do your work. So let's get started from our that point where I have mentioned, and I'm going to go ahead and do dark. You can go ahead and do it patch by patch, or like you can see, I'm basically sitting down and just coloring it in really, really nicely and easily. So dark tone. Now you can see I am slowly moving on to my medium tone because the dark tone in this cup you can see was not very, very like substantial. There was not a very big patch of dark tone over here. So I've gone ahead and moved on from my dark tone to my medium tone, going ahead with my medium tone really nicely. And now I'm going to move ahead with my light tone. So you can see I lifted off my pencil a bit to get comfortable with my hand and then went ahead and did my light tone. So you can see I'm doing this in patches. I'm not really doing this, in a very rushed manner. I'm taking my time and doing this. So light tone all the way till that end. And then what I'm going to do is, again, I'm going to go ahead and start off with my darker tone. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait for you right now before I move on to my next part of it. So you saw I have a very, very clean dark, medium, light section going on right here. Make sure you have it looking very, very neat. If you need to go over it a couple of times and blend it out a couple of times, no issues whatsoever. If it's looking a little, here and there, that's completely fine. We've done shading only for 3 classes till now, so if you haven't got it right this time, then that's completely all right. Take your time in going ahead and doing it slowly, neatly. Well done, everybody's is looking fantastic. Great. All right. So since everybody's dark, medium, light of the starting point looks really great, we can move on to the next part of it. And we're going to go ahead and start off with our dark again on the side. And now again here, simple blending, just moving on from dark to medium. Really easy, nothing complicated over here. Just keeping it really simple. You know, not having it really, really like confusing or like focused. We're just going to go ahead and do it really, really simply. So you can see I'm just taking my time and doing my dark and medium. Now, anywhere if you feel like you need to correct anything out, go ahead and do that. I feel like my darker tone on that side should have been a little bit more darker, so I'm just going ahead and adding that a little bit in. Like I've told you, always with pencil shading, you have the liberty to always go ahead and add in more. So if any spot you feel like, no, this is looking a little incomplete and I should add in more, go ahead and do that. You can definitely go ahead and do so. So this is where we are at. Okay, I'm looking at everybody's sheets and it's looking fantastic. I am so happy with everybody's work. Well done. Now what we can do is we can move on to the next part of it, which is basically going to be the handle of it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and do medium to dark. Here again, do it comfortably. There is no hard and fast rule that you have to do it fast. You can see I'm starting with my medium tone and then moving on to my dark. If you want to go ahead and do it in the reverse manner, dark to medium, that is also completely right. Just go ahead and add in your dark and medium and make sure that they are blended with each other. Perfect. Just going to wait while you all finish this up. Perfect. Everybody's done a wonderful job. All right. So since everybody's doing such a neat job, we can move on to the bottom part of it. Like I mentioned, that whole part is basically sort of like a shadow. So we're going to go ahead and do just a simple dark tone, and right outside that, we're just going to go ahead and do a simple medium tone. Here, you don't really have to go ahead and blend it out. A little bit of blending I'll probably add in later, which I will show you, but for now I'm just going ahead and adding sort of like a shadow in with a little bit of a medium tone all around it. So you can see really simple, nothing overly complicated or hard to do. Excellent. All right, well, very well done, guys. I'm just going to wait for you again for here for a couple of minutes, just in case you are still going ahead and doing it. You can take your time. There's no hard and fast rule that you have to do it fast. All right, excellent. So now everybody has gone ahead and finished up with this, which I'm very, very happy with. Now we can move on to just finishing up the piece itself. Now for finishing, there are a couple of things that you have to go ahead and do. This is with any subject or object that you're going to go ahead and shade. You will have like a whole finishing portion to your picture. So never forget that part. Now the first finishing portion is obviously going to be this whole area right here. You want to go ahead and finish that area. You do not want to leave it blank. Now the reason is because you want to just go ahead and add a little bit of dimension, because the rest of your image is looking very 3D. So to make the other part of it also look 3D, you have to add a little bit. So for this piece, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and add in a little bit like of a lightish medium tone on the sides to make it look like there is like some depth to that part of it, because obviously it curves inside, right? So just to add that a bit, and over the end rim, which I'm doing right now, I'm adding in a little bit of a medium tone, not a dark tone. I never want to go ahead and jump into a dark tone, but just a little bit to make it look a little full. So that's what I have gone ahead and done here. Now in the same manner, just to make it look again a little bit more fuller, I'm going to go ahead and do the front rim as well, a little bit on the medium side. So just darkening it a bit, and in the bottom, right behind where our cup is sitting, I'm going to go again and do a little bit of a medium tone. So you can see how I do that. So you can see the front part, just adding in a little bit of a darkness to it, like a medium tone darkness to it, just to make it look a little bit more realistic. And in the bottom as well, just behind the cup, I'm just going to go ahead and do a little bit right there to add like that little bit of 3D look that comes to it. And that's it. So you can see that finishing added so much dimension to it. A lot of the times finishing doesn't have to be a very, very complicated step. You don't have to go ahead and do a lot for it. It's just a little bit of work that you have to do behind it, but it is a must for you to go ahead and do it, because there might be elements missing here and there that you do not want it to be missing. So now if you're looking at the object, you can automatically tell where your light is coming from. It's coming right in front of you, and then you have medium and dark, and then you have the bottom part which is dark and medium. So look at how beautifully this piece has turned out to be, and I'm looking at everybody's work and it's looking fantastic. I'm again just going to wait for a couple of seconds, just in case someone needs to refer to this to, kind of get it right or do, correct the whole thing out. So I'm just going to wait for a second. Okay, good, everybody. I think everybody's doing a wonderful job. All right, so before we can finish out the class, let's talk about a couple of things. All right, so before we end today's class, a couple of things. Firstly, for your submission, I want you to go ahead and have both the things. I want you to go ahead and have this miniature drawing as well as the big drawing. Now, why is the miniature drawing important? The miniature drawing is very important in the sense that it sort of gives us the idea whether you have understood how to do the basic, outlining of the piece itself. So just having that will really, really help. Apart from that, obviously the shading of the teacup itself, because I want to see how well you've done your work or how well you've learned what our skill is for today. So make sure you make both of the submissions. Like just a little bit of a revision of a couple of things that I spoke about earlier. First is the feedback program. So even for this class, if you go ahead and do a good job, I will be giving you a feedback if you get selected as part of the top 10. So make sure to be selected. B, 100% make sure to go ahead and attend all the classes of a course, because you definitely want to go ahead and get a certificate in the end. So make sure to attend all of your classes and make sure to go ahead and make all of your submissions. In the next class, we're going to go ahead and take up another subject object that we're going to go ahead and shade out. It's going to be very, very fun, and it's going to be really exciting to go ahead and do, because even though you've learned how to do one object and you've understood the skill on how to go ahead and point your light from, the more objects and subjects you do, the more your skill will develop and the better you will learn how to do something. So make sure to go ahead and improvise and go ahead and do your submissions. I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a look at the submission video just in case you do not know how to go ahead and do the submissions and make your submissions. Bye guys.
Hi everyone, we are excited to have you here in today's fun-filled learning session at Uolo. Here is a quick look at how you can submit your work after the class. As a first step, go to live.uolo.com. You can use any browser to access this site. On this page, you will see a list of all our classes. Scroll down and you can see the Submit Your Work button. And then you will see a list of the classes that you've last attended, which could, for example, show the dance or craft or science experiment classes you've attended recently. Next, it will show you the list of children whose names are registered in this mobile number. Choose your name from this list to submit your work. For instance, if you are Satvik Kumar, choose that name. And then choose the class for which you would like to make your submission. For example, if you've attended the New Year's Masquerade Party session and you'd like to make the submission for this class, click on the Submit Your Work button below that. And then upload the photo you've taken. Choose the image from your phone and click Submit. You can scroll down and view all your past submissions and see how many of your friends or peers have liked your work. You can also see others' work and like their work to inspire your friends. If you want to showcase your work on social media, that too is very simple. Click on Share, copy the link and post it on Instagram or Facebook or any other platform of your choice. Just a tiny reminder, your submission looks a lot better if you could click a photo in the landscape mode rather than the portrait mode. Do not forget to tag us at YOLO_app. I'm eagerly looking forward to all your submissions right after this class.